Welcome to European Railway issue number 71, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme we travel to France and a look at the main line to the northwest of Strasbourg. A trip through the new Gotthard Base Tunnel in Switzerland. Diesel traction in the Czech Republic. A look at a fascinating mete-gauge line in northern Italy. Dutch mainline action to the south of Dordrecht. A return to Switzerland to sample steam over the old Gotthard mountain line. And we conclude the programme with a trip to Germany as we study traffic on the main line east of Magdeburg. We begin the programme in France as we feature the busy main line running northwest from Strasbourg towards Nancy and Metz. Our location is close to the town of Steinburg, which lies around 6 kilometres to the east of the much larger town of Sedrun. Our main filming locations are shown and in more detail on this map, which indicates the line running alongside the nearby canal. We begin with unit number 82788, heading through the station on its way to Strasbourg. This unit is a little older, 1987 vintage Z11500 unit number 116. A pair of brand new Z83500 Regioli bimode units are seen from the road overbridge next to the station. This is the church spire at Saint-Jean-Severn, about 7 kilometres away. And look at these trailing geraniums basking in the sun. The area is home to 8 of the remaining BB25500 vintage electrics, which work some of the peak hour passenger workings centred on Strasbourg. Here 25679 heads east with a service from Severn. In the opposite direction, sister locomotive number 25670 slows for the station stop, with the 1055 from Strasbourg to Severn. The date is the 12th of October 2016. Heading away from the camera is 27049, heading train number 53102, the 1044 from Hausbergen to Metz-Sablon. This is the classic view from this location, where the line runs alongside the Canal de la Marne au Rhin. Heading west is 27034 on this Hausbergen to Dijon-Périgny serial hoppers. Following along behind is tri-voltage locomotive number 37046, heading north with train 40366, formed of mainly Ambrosio intermodal vehicles. The train is the 0800 from Basel to Mont-Saint-Martin. The nearby canal is used mainly by leisure craft. Dual-mode B82500 units are also seen on this line. This is 82779, forming the 1149 from Strasbourg to Metz. This new Voslo DE18 diesel, number 418507, is operated by Europort and is seen here hauling train 60212, the 1021 Aubernay to Gironcourt-Haycourt. The wagons are used to transport new beer bottles for the Kronenburg brewery in Strasbourg. Number 25670 heads east with the 1224 from Saverne to Strasbourg. This is B83513, a 6-car version of the previous two that we have just seen. Right up behind was 27048, with the 12 o'clock from Metz-Sablon to Hausbergen. Passing the freight, we saw 25679. This was followed 15 minutes later by 25670, seen here rounding the curve. The BB 26000 electrics, which used to power trains between Metz and Basel, have now been deployed onto lesser duties, including this, the 1420 from Strasbourg to Nancy. Heading north is 37058, powering train 40320, the 1112 from Basel to Mont Saint-Martin. It is passed by Belgian Railways Class 13 number 1320 on the 1351 from Wappie to Hausbergen. Finally, we return to the station to witness 25679 departing at just after 3:30 with a stopping service from Sedrun to Strasbourg. In this section we travel to Switzerland and to the new Gotthard Base Tunnel, where a publicity event took place on the 3rd of August 2016. We are on board a special train which began in the north at Fluelen before travelling through the new tunnel with a stopover at the emergency transfer station at Sedrun before completing our transit through to Biasca. This is Fluelen, as members of the press and invited guests gathered to await the arrival of their special train. The new Gotthard Base Tunnel was officially opened on the 1st of June 2016, and for 6 months trial running took place before normal services began on the 11th of December last. 460-008 was the power provided by SBB for the special train, and here it arrives with the empty stock. A number of speeches were made to introduce passengers to the events that would unfold during the day. It included an overview by SBB's chief executive, Andreas Meyer, seen here with glasses and wearing a light blue shirt. On board the train, various goodies were given out to the guests, including this travel passport commemorating the day.
A Sedrun poi avrete la possibilità poi anche di scendere nella centrale multifunzionale di Sedrun e vedere da vicino un po', toccare con mano anche il tunnel.
Andreas Mayer continued with his brief, this time on board the train. It wasn't long before the invited guests detrained at the emergency transfer station at Sedrun, some 1,500 metres below the surface. It was here that you can get a sense of the size of the new tunnel, which has two bores taking the tracks north and south. The train today was the first public one to use the tunnel, apart from the special trains that traversed the route during the official opening weekend held at the beginning of June. The train, called the Gotthardino, was the first where the fare-paying public could travel through the tunnel between the 3rd of August and the 27th of November, before the new timetable began in early December. Further briefings took place explaining the role of the station here. Members of the public were able to stop off to view an exhibition detailing some of the engineering marvels. The station here was originally meant to serve the town of Sedrun, some 800 metres above, but this idea was abandoned in 2012 as it would need a continuing subsidy to keep it viable. It would also mean that stopping trains here would reduce the capacity of the tunnel. A historical view here of how travel over the Gotthard Pass has changed over the years. It's time to get that all-important passport stamped up for the occasion. By now it was time for the guests to return to the train and to a little snack that was waiting on the at-seat tables. Attention now turned to checking out the view from the front, and the resultant scrum caused by the various camera crews on board. In a more calmer climate, our cameraman joins the driver for the journey through the tunnel. 843-017, seen on the left, stands ready to attach to the rear of the train in order to propel the formation into the non-electrified sidings here at Biasca.
Ciao, che sinceria è loco? Sempre buona.
The train terminated at the emergency firefighting depot, where dedicated trains for the tunnel are housed.
Quattro. 2.
A final round of speeches were delivered by the railway's executives before the day's events drew to a close. Heading east now, and we visit the Czech Republic to catch some diesel-operated commuter trains to the west of the country's capital city, Praha, or Prague as we will now refer to it. The line we have chosen runs out of Kladno and onwards to Rakovník. It is also fairly close to Prague's main airport. Hostivice is the junction for two lines into and out of Prague and is therefore fairly busy, particularly in the morning and evening peaks. Typical of local services is this view of railcar number 810236, arriving with an hourly service, the 1608 terminating service from Středočeský. Highlights on this line are the use of Class 714 diesels on peak hour services from Prague to Kladno. Seen arriving with the 1602 service from Prague is 714202. The locos are powered by two 300 kilowatt engines, producing just over 800 horsepower. They are intended for local trip workings and station pilot duties, as well as short distance passenger trains such as this. Moments later, and 810-236 returns with the 1631 to Stredo Kluki. The next service to feature a Class 714, there are 3 diagrammed during peak periods, is the 1620 from Prague to Loni. The loco is hauling 3 Class 021 passenger vehicles, which stand out for their distinctive rounded end windows. During the stop, the driver got out to check on one of the engines. All seemed fine though, as the train continued without incident. Another species seen here are Class 814 units, wearing this rather perky yellow, lime and green livery. These are rebuilds from Class 810 single car units and their associated Class 010 trailer vehicles. They date from between 2005 and 2012, and can be seen operating on branch lines all over the country. A Class 750 diesel arrived shortly afterwards, and is seen on the rear of its train bound for Prague. This is freight train number 85021, the 1716 from Janech. The train is due to go forward to Prague at 19:35 hours. Power for this working was locally based 742-238. Meanwhile, units 814, 172 and 100 have arrived with the 1637 from Prague to Stredo Kluki. This train is effectively one of the local trains that normally start from here, but it is further extended to start from the capital during rush hour. (714-202) is seen returning with the 1702 service from Kladno to Prague. 75706 had made it to Prague and back, and arrives with the 1722 from Prague to Rudne u Prahy. Located high above the city of Genova is the single-track meter-gauge Ferrovia Genova-Casella railway. In this section, we follow the line, seen here in black, from its city terminus right up into the hills around Casella. The first part of this section looks at the city terminus station before travelling up into the hills, where we follow the route in detail north from Campi. This is the entrance to the station at Genova. Located at Manin, north of the city centre, on a hill, the station is over a kilometre away from the main railway station, which is situated below. The railway maintains a schedule which sees 9 trains each day per direction between the city and Casella, a distance of some 24 kilometres. The line has a lot of fairly old stock on its books, including now stored unit number A1, built in 1929 and imported to the line in 1963 from the Ferrovia Elettrica Val di Fiemme line. Unit number A11 is just 20 years old and is seen here leaving the terminus with a service for Casella. The same unit is seen running through Campi on a later date. Photography of the line south of here is very difficult, as there are few roads that get close enough to the track, which runs up through some very difficult and steeply sided terrain. Units A9, A10 and A11 were all built in 1997 by the firm Ferrima. Here the former, seen in the latest red livery, arrives in the station at Torazza. A real oldie is seen passing in the opposite direction. Unit number A5 was built in 1926 by Cato and brought to the line in 1969 from the Ferrovia Spoleto-Norcia railway. Final planning for the construction of the line took place in 1903, but delays occurred as well as the outbreak of the First World War, which brought a complete halt to proceedings. Construction began in earnest in the late 1920s, with the first trains beginning operation on the 1st of September 1929. This is the scene at Vallombrosa. The railway struggled to keep control of its costs during the first 10 years of operation, and changed management teams several times. This is where most of the trains on the line cross, with just 2 units being required for the roughly 90-minute train frequency. The tunnel just north of the station plays host to unit number A11, this time seen without a trailer car. We continue up the line to Sant'Olcese, where the station overlooks the church and beautiful town. Throughout the 1930s, the line was used by many of the residents of Genova to visit the hillside villages and picturesque countryside. Sundays were a particularly busy day. This is the view from inside the tunnel. Number A9 enters on a train for Casella. With the village of Tullo on the hill, number A9 is seen once more, making a cautious approach to the village's station with a train for Casella. For its return journey, number A9 picked up a different liveried trailer for its run down the grade for Genova. The line continued in its popularity before all operations came to an abrupt halt when Italy entered World War II. It soon reopened though, when much of the population moved out of Genova into the countryside to avoid the hostilities. Surprisingly, the line received little damage in air raids, probably because it held little significance in terms of its role in the war effort, and was largely left intact. After peace broke out, it again survived any form of cannibalisation in terms of reparations, but began to suffer with worn-out rolling stock and track with little if any prospect of investment. In the second half of this section, we look at the northern half of the line from Bussaletta north to Casella. Number A9 passes through the station here at Bussaletta on its way up to Casella. The adjacent road offered the camera crew this superb sequence of number A5 heading up the valley towards Casella. Not far away is the station here at Niusi. This is typical of the stations located on the line that serve the small communities dotted across the hillsides. This is just south of Genova. With worn-out infrastructure, the railway was in a desperate state, and in 1949 the private management of the railway gave up and it passed into the hands of government, which at least brought some stability to operations. This is unit number A9, seen coming off the extension into Casella, and arrives into the town's original station here at Casella Deposito. It is here that workshops and covered accommodation for the trains is situated. The shed here houses the railway's heritage train, powered by 1924 vintage locomotive number 29. This was one of two purchased by the railway in 1957 from the Ferrovia Adriatico Sangritana railway in 1957. The other, number 28, was used for spares to put number 29 back into action. Under government ownership, additional funds came to the line, including the costs to extend the line from Deposito station across a new combined rail and road bridge into the town itself. Here numbers A8 and A9 top and tail this train bound for Genova, with the town seen in the distance. Number A9 came back a little later with a terminating service for Casella. The line continued to struggle on with little investment and was indeed slated for closure, with the trackbed to be turned into a road. Luckily, this never happened. It took a tragic accident to change the fortune of the line when one person was killed as a result of a landslip, which caused the complete closure of the railway on safety grounds. Much needed renovation work was then carried out, including replacement of the rails from 27 kg to 36 kg per metre. This allowed line speeds to be raised. The extension of the line into the town of Casella significantly improved patronage, especially as the local road system was clogged at busy times. Further work on the line in the early 1990s included raising the power of the electrical system up to 3000 volts DC. This is the terminus at Casella, as number A9 awaits its next turn of duty on a service down to Genova. After 15 minutes or so, the unit heads off. In early 2000, the line's ownership passed into the hands of the local government region of Liguria. In 2010, a tender for operating the line was announced, and eventually it passed into the custody of its present owners, AMT Genova, who run the local public transport system in the city of Genova. Finally, we include two shots of trains crossing the combined road and rail bridge at Casella. The first shows unit number A11 crossing over the bed of the river Scrivia. Our last scene shows the classic railcar number A5 being led by unit number A11, heading towards the town over the combined road and rail bridge. And so ends our visit to this often overlooked narrow gauge railway. The railways of the Netherlands have undergone some quite major changes over the past few years, with the elimination of much of the country's older generation of electric multiple units. In this section, we visit Lage Zwaluwe, just south of Dordrecht, to witness what the more modern scene brings. Lage Zwaluwe, or literal meaning low swallow, is situated just south of one of the Rhine tributaries, and is on the route from Venlo to Breda, and onwards up to Rotterdam. It is also on the main line up from Roosendaal and further afield from Antwerpen. Heading north, we see the 6-car IRM unit bound for Rotterdam and onwards to Amsterdam. Dropping down off the railway bridge on the new high-speed line is Trax Class 186 electric number 186112, heading the 1352 from Amsterdam to Brussels. Alpha Trains owned Class 28 are also Class 186 multi-voltage locos, and a total of 10 are currently being hired for internal and high-speed passenger services around the country. Here 2813, or 186205, heads north with a service from Eindhoven to Amsterdam. One 186113 heads along the new high-speed line with a train from Brussels. Delivered to Dutch Railways on the 1st of November 2011, number 186010 heads south past the station on the high-speed tracks. The old classic route is seen here as a 6-car IRM unit number 8743 heads north with the 1436 from Vlissingen to Amsterdam. Note the flood defence gates just before the road overbridge. Hired in from Alpha Trains is 186118. Class 2400 units have been in service since 2009. With a total fleet size of 69, they were built by both Bombardier and Siemens and are based on the DB Class 425 electric units. Similar Class 2600 units are the 6-car versions. These units were built to replace the then ageing population of MAT 64 electric train sets, now subsequently withdrawn. The writing is now also on the wall for the ICM Koploper units, with their replacement in the next few years now planned. Here 4016 and 4249 head south. With 6 freight trains in the 80 minutes we were there, most of these were to and from Germany. Heading north is 189209 on Harte Rüttelbahn cargo, with train 42764, the 0155 from Kehl to Maasvlakte. DB Class 6400 diesel number 6426 has not long arrived with a chemical train from the works situated a few kilometres to the west. It is seen running around its train prior to working north for Kaifuik Yard in Dordrecht. The date is the 29th of June 2016. Another Class 186 hired in is number 2809. DB Class 189 are also very common here. This pair, numbers 89 and 50, haul train EZ 45716 from Köln-Gremberg to Kaifuk. (189.068 and 065 head south with a train of coal from Maasvlakte to Dillingen Steelworks. In the opposite direction, 189112, currently on hire to SBB Cargo, heads train 40176 from Piacenza to Rotterdam Botlek. heading train GM 48712, an empty iron ore train from Dillingen to Maasvlakte are DBs 189077 and 042. 186010 is on a return service from Antwerpen to Amsterdam. As regular viewers will know, we've visited this location before in European Railway, but not for many years. So it is surprising to see how things have changed over the intervening period, with many more modern day locos and multiple units, as well as new tracks, all on view. But at least some of the old order still exists. Talking of the old order, what about this? One of just a handful of Class 1600 electrics in service for DB cargo. This one is number 1615, seen heading this short freight bound for Kaifuk. And now for something rather different. Steam over the old Gotthard main line in Switzerland. Filmed by fellow cameraman Maurizio Tolini, we follow preserved steam locomotive C56 number 2978 on a journey from Erstfeld in the north to Biasca in the south. The date is the 28th of July 2016, and the occasion is the filming on behalf of Swiss television channel SRF of the TV programme Switzerland Currently, Gotthard, a nostalgic look back by a group of protagonists on the changing face of transport over this challenging mountain route. And this is the view of the train on its outward run from Erstfeld, seen climbing past the village of Sedrun. There was no shortage of followers, as can be seen here. Shadowing the train for operational reasons was Green Class RE44 number 11161. Here the train exits the 1,090 metre long Pfaffensprung tunnel. Locomotive number 2978 is the only operational example of the 4 surviving members of the class, and it certainly looks the part on the gruelling 27% gradient. A pathing stop was made here at Wassen in order to let the line's normal traffic pass. This is Göschenen, where a water stop was made. Number 2978 is one of a fleet of 28 locomotives built for working over the line between 1913 and 1917. They were an efficient class and earned the nickname Elephant. However, their reign on the route didn't last long, as newer electric locomotives were introduced just a few years later. Number 11161 was to take the train through the 15-kilometre long Gotthard Tunnel, and here it is seen attaching this luggage car to the rear of the formation prior to running around. After exiting the tunnel, the ensemble is seen entering the station here at Arolo, where the electric came off for the run down to Bodio and onwards to Biasca. Before long, number 2978 was in charge again, seen here heading south of Livorno. This is on the downward spiral loops at Giornico, as 11161 heads for Bodio, just in front of the main train. Number 2978 slowly enters the 72-metre long tunnel at Torniche, close to the old station at Piana Tortorido, and was held for other traffic to pass by. This was the scene at Biasca shortly after the arrival of 2978, where this small display was seen in the yard. Star exhibit is HG22 steam loco Caspar Honegger. Number 2978 was due to be coaled, watered and turned here, and that's when the fun and games began. The turntable next to the loco shed was in need of a few cans of WD-40 to loosen it up. No amount of human power was enough to shift the assembly, so a bit of forklift power was brought in for assistance. All then seemed to be going well. Enter stage left, and it was the turn of number 2978 and 128 tons of metal, coal and water, which eventually proved to be a bit more of a problem. Now, where's the sander? Next, enter the white van man for a lesson on how to do things. And I do like the effort being put in by the chap pushing the cabin. Don't ask me, I only drive the thing. Now then, the white van man soon expired with exhaustion, and it was the turn of the forklift to give everyone a bit of a wiggle. Careful, someone is going to burst a blood vessel. With a bit more muscle, number 2978 was coaxed around, much to the delight of the rail crews and staff on the ground. Maybe they won't be trying that again in a hurry. Fueled up and pointing in the right direction, number 2978 backs down onto its waiting train. Because of new modern signalling in the area, number 2978 had to be piloted out of the station to Bodio by number 11161. Notwithstanding this, the formation actually looks pretty good, and it was nice to see a green liveried electric loco chosen for the day. With the electric now off the train, number 2978 gets to grips with its journey back north. and this is at the Giornico loops once more. Finally, we leave you with this shot of the loco climbing towards Pardoria, not long after leaving Faido. Our final section in this programme looks at traffic to the east of Magdeburg, on the main rail route east of Hanover towards Berlin, Dresden and Leipzig. Our location is just east of the main city, not far from the town of Biederitz. From there we travel southeast to Gömmern, on the line that eventually reaches Dresden and Leipzig. The two tracks that head east and west here are very busy, with between 12 and 16 movements each hour. There are roughly 6 passenger services each way, and typical of what can be seen is this train formed of Dosto coaching stock with a Class 182 electric locomotive. This is our Magdeburg to Leipzig stopping service. Also generally worked by Class 182 is the hourly Magdeburg to Frankfurt service. This one has 182011 in charge. These locomotives have recently moved north from Dresden, where they worked S-bound services in the area. Another hourly service is the one from Berg to Braunschweig. These have recently been taken over by Class 146s, displacing older Class 112 and 114s. Freight traffic is busy, with around 4 seen each hour during our Monday morning stopover. This is 185308. As can be seen, the bridge here is only a few years old. Class 112s share the Frankfurt duties with the Class 182s. This is 112152 with the 0557 from Frankfurt Oder. Regular followers of German railways will know that some of the intercity duties in the north of the country have been taken over by Class 1465s. This one, number 146555, is working a Cottbus to Nordijk-Möller service. Container trains from the Czech Republic towards Hamburg or Bremen make regular appearances on this line. Here 186455 heads west with a working for Hamburg. Now sold to Railpool and leased back to DB Cargo is 155037, seen here heading an eastbound freight just before 9 AM. Looking up onto the bridge now as 143526 heads east, powering the 0904 from Magdeburg to Leipzig. This is 146023 on a Berg to Braunschweig service. Two minutes later and 182016 follows along with the 0759 from Leipzig to Magdeburg. This locomotive entered service on the 8th of November 2001. Hard to believe that it is now in its 16th year of operation. We now move a little further east across the river to the station here at Biederitz. This is the junction with lines towards Potsdam, a single track branch to Lohburg, and the tracks down towards Goemmern and Roslau. 182008 passes with the 1008 from Magdeburg to Frankfurt. The date is the 20th of June 2016. HVLE's Blue Tiger diesel number 330.4 caught us out as it heads west on a set of stone empties from the Berlin line. This is 185692. Czech-based company Metrans operates several container trains each way per day on the route down to Dresden. This is 386019, the loco Atrax F140MS, having been in service for just 2 years. Operated by Cap Train number 185543 is currently on hire to ITL. Here it heads west at 3 minutes to 12. Still showing its former owner's EBM cargo decals, number 203115 was sold to Rail Cargo Carrier on the 1st of October 2015. Here it heads east, dragging Austrian Electric number 1116037. Following along behind was 185603. This loco currently belongs to Alpha Trains and subleased to Rhine Cargo, a joint stock company belonging to HGK and Neuss Düsseldorfer Hafen. Here it heads east on a trainload of tank wagons. Class 66 number 29001 is currently leased to Heavy Haul Power, although when we filmed the loco here it was very close to being subhired to Starkenberger Güterlogistik Limited. It heads west with a long trainload of loaded stone hoppers. We move south now to Wallnitz, where 182020 is seen on a return 1204 Magdeburg to Leipzig service. Two 18392, now belonging to DB Infrastructure, heads north with an inspection train. Expect up to around 8 trains each hour along this line for much of the day. Motive power can be varied and of course will include many of the old East German electrics that are commonplace in this part of the country. Number 112166 slows for the station stop. This is Gommern, just a few kilometres further south, and 143926 is slowing for the stop, heading the 1304 from Magdeburg to Leipzig. Plinth, just outside the station, is Loco 994301. Built in 1920 by Orstein and Koppel for the former sugar factory in Gommern, it later spent time working in nearby Berg until 1969, before being returned here and plynthed in 1975. DB locos also work into the Czech Republic on container trains. Here 189015 heads north with a service for Bremen. MERL's Class 186 number 138 is subleased to ITL based at Dresden. Here the loco heads north with this set of hoppers from the Czech Republic at exactly 2 p.m. Eight minutes later, and 202-219, operated by SKL Umschlag Service of Magdeburg, heads north. The loco is XDR 110219, which entered traffic back on the 19th of February 1970, based at nearby Leipzig. Finally, we see 182022 arriving on the rear of this, the 1404 service from Magdeburg to Leipzig. The lines immediately to the east of Magdeburg are busy and well worth a visit to the area. We have also released a programme entitled Line by Line Germany, Magdeburg to Hanover, which looks in depth at the traffic to be seen on the main line west of Magdeburg towards Braunschweig, and is still available to order. In the meantime, we hope once again that you have enjoyed this edition of European Railway.